Your loss of motivation isn't a sign of laziness. It's the echo of a powerful inner breakthrough, when something profound has broken free, and no one will tell you that this awakening will make your life easier. On the contrary, at times it plunges you into an abyss of even greater trials. The truth is, behind spiritual awakening lies a remarkable, almost unspoken paradox. You awaken to truth, suddenly realizing you are not your job, nor your convoluted history, nor the fleeting thoughts that swarm in your mind. And these first days and sometimes weeks are illuminated by a pure, otherworldly bliss, but then, like a shadow, an oppressive emptiness descends. Life, seemingly overnight, loses its colors and former meaning. This is no longer just a desperate attempt to find lost motivation. It's a profound existential search for a new anchor, when all the previous sources of meaning that sustained your world suddenly cease to exist. This is why our goal is not merely to provide understanding, but to help you rediscover what seemed irrevocably lost. A clear sense of direction after this overwhelming awakening. So let's delve into the essence of what truly happens during an awakening. It's far more than a fleeting flash of insight. It's a devastating psychological earthquake that shakes the very foundations of your being. Everything that once defined you, everything that held undeniable importance, the drive for success, the craving for recognition, even your very personal identity, all of it crumbles into dust when the familiar structure of life suddenly collapses. What remains? Absolute emptiness. Only a raw, defenseless self stands before us. And this is deeply frightening. No one prepares us for such an encounter, for such an exposed state. For true awakening isn't merely an elevated spiritual experience. It's a profound psychological crisis that shakes the very core of our being. Carl Jung brilliantly called it the encounter with oneself, a moment when our ego, toppled from its pedestal, realizes with horror that it is no longer the center of the universe. And this is not liberation as many believe. It is in essence the death of the former self. According to Jungian psychology, at this pivotal moment, our persona, the carefully constructed mask we wear to function successfully in society, begins to irreversibly dissolve. But instead of the expected instant clarity or peace, what follows is profound confusion, an impenetrable existential fog in which all bearings are lost. Because once the old familiar narrative of your life crumbles into dust, you find yourself utterly defenseless, standing amidst emptiness, stripped of your own story. And here's what no one warns you about. Your mind will panic, desperately clinging to anything. To the debris of old beliefs, to brilliant but sometimes empty new spiritual dogmas, even to depression itself, because at least that feels real, tangible. But what if this pervasive meaninglessness isn't a curse, not a problem to be solved? What if it's actually an invitation. In the next section, we will delve deeply into what Carl Jung considered the true, authentic path forward after such a radical spiritual awakening. And it's not about a comfortable return to normal life at all. We will be discussing the creation of something immeasurably deeper, more fundamental. His description of this path has the power to completely transform your understanding of healing and what it means to be whole. Imagine you wake up and inside a gaping void. This is not a problem. It's not a breakdown. What is it then? The great Carl Jung asserted, this piercing emptiness, this disappearance of your former self, is not the end at all. On the contrary, it's an alluring invitation, a call to your true path. But here lies the unexpected turn, the real trap. This path doesn't elevate you upwards towards radiant enlightenment. Oh no. It leads down into the dark, uncharted depths of your being. And it is here on this steep descent that most people freeze as if rooted to the spot. They mistakenly take the awakening itself for the journey's end point. However, Jung would have argued it's merely a trembling threshold, not the finish line. As Jung poignantly noted, people will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own soul. After you've experienced a spiritual awakening, your ego is thrown wide open, losing its familiar boundaries. And this means that everything you've hidden for so long begins to reason seep out from the depths. Your unconscious, your shadow, your ingrained fears, your unresolved aching pain. And here's the main rub. We are diligently taught to strive for the light, to seek it, but no one explains how to sit with and embrace the enveloping darkness. This is why you might feel a strange numbness, a piercing anxiety, or an oppressive, alienated isolation, as if you've found yourself on an island. Your consciousness has expanded, yes, but it hasn't yet integrated all these new, sometimes frightening facets. This is precisely what Jung called individuation. A magnificent yet painful process of becoming your true, authentic self. It's a path that runs through a fearless encounter with the entire spectrum of your psyche, with all its light and dark sides. It's chaotic, incredibly emotional, and absolutely necessary. For the true meaning of life isn't born from escaping the collective sphere, but from becoming whole, integrated within it, by fully accepting yourself. Allow me to challenge a deeply ingrained belief. The so-called ego death is not a path to enlightenment. It is rather a profound trauma to your personality. The ego is not our enemy. It is simply incomplete, not fully realized. Carl Jung never urged us to destroy the ego. On the contrary, he saw its potential for development, for evolution. From a protective mask shaped by survival instinct to a conscious, harmonious self capable of acting in unison with the deep unconscious and the very soul. Therefore, if you find yourself thinking, "Why do I feel so broken, so fragmented after my awakening?" know that you are not alone. This is precisely what happens. You've shed an old shell, but the inner architecture of your soul hasn't yet had time to restructure, to take on a new form. And this process requires time, patience, and deep inner work. It is during this vulnerable period that many begin to suppress their true feelings. Desperately chase fleeting euphoria, retreat into dissociation, or engage in excessive spiritualization. They continue to seek something external to regain a lost sense of meaning and wholeness. But the entire essence of Jung's philosophy is that the meaning you so eagerly seek was never external. It is hidden in those uncharted corners of yourself that you have not yet dared to confront. So, a crucial question arises: how does one restore this lost meaning? How can you find your path and purpose when old anchors have crumbled and there's no returning to the past? So we will delve into how, according to Jung, one can reclaim their true identity after an awakening. This isn't about returning to who you were, but about becoming who you were always destined to be. And yes, we will certainly touch upon synchronicity, powerful archetypes, and explore why your dreams might be far more important than immediate goals right now. Perhaps you've felt it, that poignant ache, that lingering sensation as if something inside is desperately pushing forward, yet you're stuck in silent uncertainty, suspended between your past self and who you are about to become. You've seemingly paused, waiting for life to give you the coveted green light, but it never illuminates, leaving you in limbo. Carl Jung called this critical stage the reconstruction of the true self. And here's the bitter truth: most people never complete it. They either revert to old familiar patterns, or even worse, wander for years in this post-awakening fog, silencing the inner call with distractions or emotional detachment. But what Jung discovered, and this might truly shock you, is that the way out isn't about doing more, working harder, or seeking external motivation. It lies in a deep understanding of the inner architecture of your own unique universe. Let's delve into the concept of Jungian archetypes. These ancient universal patterns that form the very foundation of the human psyche. Imagine them as invisible blueprints of your soul, guiding maps that reveal your true path and your future self. The hero, the seeker, the sage, the orphan. These aren't just words from a fairy tale. They are living, powerful archetypes, deep patterns of transformation that shape us. At the moment of your awakening, whether the world suddenly burst into new colors or conversely grew dim, your former archetype, be it the achiever, the pleaser, or the survivor, ceased to serve you. This is why everything around you might now seem devoid of meaning, empty. But understand, you are not broken. You have simply outgrown your old role like old clothes, and in this lies colossal power. For now you have the freedom to choose your path, not from fear, not from old programs, but from the deepest, most authentic truth of your being. As Jung wisely noted, our true task is not to be good or even spiritual. Our task is to become whole. This means embracing everything within you. Your contradictions, your hidden shadows, your unique gifts, and even your deepest sorrow. Because your new authentic meaning won't descend upon you from somewhere external, from some abstract collective sphere. No, it is already there within you, deeply encoded in your soul, just waiting to be remembered for you to rediscover it. Many of us dismiss our dreams, forgetting or ignoring them, but Jung saw something far greater in them. He deeply believed that your unconscious, this bottomless well of wisdom, tirelessly sends you messages every night, gently yet persistently striving to guide you toward inner integration, toward finding harmony. And this isn't some esoteric mysticism. This is your amazing brain working at profound levels, subtly and skillfully reorganizing your psyche, helping you become who you are meant to be. Look closely at the world around you, the recurring symbols that flash across your path, the mysterious animals that cross your way, the buildings that defy logic, and that familiar stranger whose face seems eternal in your surroundings. These are not mere coincidences, no. They are messengers carrying secret messages intended personally for you. If you feel adrift, lost in the fog of everyday life, then here is your first step. Start a dream journal. Meticulously, without attempting analysis, record every image, every minute detail that appears to you in these nocturnal visions. Just observe over time, like an invisible hand. A map of your inner world will begin to emerge, and clear, recognizable patterns will appear in this seemingly chaotic landscape. This is nothing less than your subconscious carefully transmitting fragments of a new identity, one you are creating step by step. And the moment you dare to follow these inner promptings, the world around you comes alive. Astonishing synchronicities begin to manifest. Life, like a sensitive conversationalist, starts to respond to you with subtle whispers confirming your path. It was this profound alchemy, transforming the inner into the outer, that Jung so perceptively described. Perhaps a perfectly natural question is now forming in your mind, and I hear it. But how do I integrate all of this into my daily life? How do I transform this profound inner transformation into a tangible reality, building the foundation of my existence upon it? After all, awareness, for all its beauty, doesn't negate the need to pay bills, build relationships, and fully function in this sometimes harsh world. This is precisely what we will discuss next. How to bring this renewed true self into the collective sphere of your life, imbuing every aspect with clarity, unwavering purpose, and deep inner peace. Yes, even amidst the unbridled chaos and constant hustle of the modern world. Here it is, the uncomfortable truth most people prefer to turn away from. Awakening doesn't transform you into a superhuman. On the contrary, it makes you deeper, more real, more vulnerable, and crucially, far more conscious. And this newfound clarity demands its price. It won't allow you to return to autopilot mode. The world around us, with all its hustle and expectations, will relentlessly try to pull you back into the whirlpool of noise, the endless pursuit of productivity and exhausting comparisons. But Carl Jung, like a wise mentor, would remind you, the true goal is not to force yourself back into someone else's mold. The goal is to learn to live from the very heart of your being, while still remaining a part of this real turbulent world. And to cope with this, you will need new tools. Not just superficial techniques, but profound internal supports that will help manifest your authentic self. So let's talk about 3 powerful tools proposed by Jung that can help you rediscover meaning. Not meaning imposed from the outside, not fleeting motivation from the digital echo chamber, but your own unique meaning. Tool number 1, relearn the language of silence. Our external world is shamelessly deafening, not only with sounds but with relentless demands and constant pressure. Even healing itself has become another commodity, another source of noise. Therefore, when we finally dare to stop, when we sit alone without a phone, without stimulation, face to face with absolute silence, most of us are seized by genuine panic. Silence dictates no scenarios, demands no adherence to algorithms. There are no external directives within it, only your true self. And perhaps it is this version of yourself that you have so long, so stubbornly avoided. Carl Jung would undoubtedly have called silence not an absence of something, but a powerful presence. A presence so all-encompassing and profound that it shakes the very illusion of our ego's control. It is in this silent sanctuary that the true self begins its conversation. Not what we show to the world, but our inner witness, the voice of the soul. But here lies the subtlest trap. Do not sit in silence trying to extract something profound from it. That's still an ego trick. Simply be in it, demanding nothing in return, expecting no revelations. Allow yourself to feel the rising fear. Permit boredom to slowly surface. Let discomfort crawl across your skin like an uninvited guest. This is your psyche beginning to cleanse itself, as if detoxing from a years-long addiction to noise. It is in this still depth that astonishing patterns begin to emerge. You suddenly start to hear what your nervous system is trying to convey to you. All the accumulated emotional baggage finally finds its voice, and ultimately a quiet, non-verbal knowledge is born. Not a product of logical reasoning, but a pure felt truth. It is here in this deep silence that true meanings take root, for it grants space for your own undeniable power. And yes, it can be frightening to realize no one else, not your parents, not wise gurus, not omnipotent systems, can tell you what is true for your soul. Only you. But in this very realization lies the greatest freedom. It is here in this awareness that authentic meaning is born. Tool number 2, reclaim your personal myth. How often do we wake up feeling detached, like mere observers in our own lives? Work seems like a meaningless routine, goals like mirages in a desert, and relationships merely a cold exchange of services. But Carl Jung, the great explorer of the soul's depths, would whisper to us, "You are not banished from the collective sphere. You have simply outgrown the story imposed upon you. It's time to remember the true myth for which you came into this world. Within every soul lies a unique myth, a distinctive pattern of being that it yearns to express. It doesn't always lie on the surface. Sometimes it's buried under years of convention, expectations, and others' beliefs. But if you dare to look closely, its threads will begin to emerge through the veil of oblivion. Mentally return to your childhood. What did you do with such ease that time dissolved and your heart sang with pure joy? What captivated you completely before shame, like an uninvited guest, entered the inner sanctuary of your soul? Perhaps it seems childish, quirky, or utterly useless in the modern world. But it is precisely there that the living thread of your deepest meaning pulses. Jung was convinced these early genuine manifestations were not accidental. They are priceless glimpses of your true self, before it was relentlessly polished and distorted by the collective sphere. This is not about chasing external goals, but about a deep, attentive listening to what life itself strives to embody through you. What persistently returns again and again, no matter how much you try to suppress it, is the call of your myth. And rest assured it will not resemble anyone else's path, for therein lies its unique, sacred individuality. Tool number 3, powerful and transformative. Transmute your suffering into pure art. How many times have we been deceived, indoctrinated with one of the greatest cultural lies? That true creativity is born only from bliss, and art is the sole domain of the chosen, of geniuses. Carl Jung, without a doubt, would have vehemently disagreed. For him, creative self-expression was not merely a hobby, but a natural, vitally important path to the healing of the soul itself. When we dare to give form to our unconscious, whether through images, words, sounds, or movement, we don't just create, we liberate that trapped, surging energy that has been languishing within. So please stop waiting for the right mood or perfect feeling to begin creating. On the contrary, take your anger and use it. Embrace your grief and give it a voice. Transform your confusion into form. Let these powerful emotions become your palette, your paint, rather than a corrosive poison that taints you from within. You don't need an art degree or to be a recognized master. You need only one thing: to express yourself. Do it with the shameless, primal freedom of a child. With curiosity, without embarrassment, without regard for rules, allowing everything to be wild and messy. Create not for likes, not for illusory perfection, but because something deep within you demands to be released And here's the paradox, the true magic, the rawer, more sincere and unembellished you allow your expression to be, the more elevated and transcendent it becomes. Through this process, you not only gain profound meaning for yourself, but also create something that resonates, comforts, and offers meaning to others. So what is true integration? It's not an attempt to return to your former self, to who you once were. No, it's a deep and conscious letting go of everything that never truly belonged to you, that was foreign to your true essence. And only when this burden lifts do you begin to live, to breathe, from the crystal clarity that remains, revealing your authentic self. In sacred silence, you gain access to your innermost inner voice, a source of wisdom that has always been with you. Your personal myth, your unique story grants you an unwavering direction, pointing the way. And creativity, that powerful impulse of the soul, bestows upon you the courage not just to dream, but to bring those dreams into reality, giving them form and life. Without a doubt, the path of awakening can demand an incredible price from you. It may result in the loss of cherished relationships, the shattering of a familiar identity, even career changes that once seemed unshakable. But if all these supports were built on the sands of illusion, were they ever truly yours? The true reward shining at the end of this path is immeasurable. It is the attainment of authentic meaning, a meaning so profound and unshakable that no one can ever take it from you. For you did not receive it from outside. You remembered it within yourself, you fought for it, you reclaimed it.